Sophie.
And I'm Alice.
And we are the co-directors of The Joyful. And today is International Women's Day. So we thought, as two women, people who identify as women, who run a business and who have a team of amazing women working in our business, we would get on here and we would talk about what it's like to run a women-led business. Mm-hmm. Specifically in the context of really going out there and trying to change the traditional business paradigm so that it fits the needs, not just of women, actually, it's the needs of all people.
Yep.
Because I don't think the patriarchy works for anyone.
Nope.
But we thought we'd share with you some of the things that we've learned in the last year and how we've been implementing changes to ensure that our business is truly accessible for all people.
100%. And I want that on a t-shirt. I don't think the patriarchy works for anyone.
Yes.
Thanks that for the Joyful t-shirt business, which we've been talking about for the last 3 years. So yeah, like Sophie said, we have a team of women, and a number of those, and team members we've had in the past, team members I'm sure we'll have in the future, come on and they only work for us part-time. And so that's the first thing that I want to talk about, is the struggle of so many women who I have known through my career who are in senior positions, within the creative industry, within the advertising, marketing industry, tech industry in particular, because that's like where we've both worked. They've taken maternity leave and then they haven't wanted to return to work full time. And obviously this is pre-pandemic, when nobody thought that anyone could be productive working from home, apparently.
And it seems some people still think that.
Totally. But when they came to return to work, what they were coming up again and again was organisations' complete inability to be flexible around them, insistence they work full time, insistence they work a set number of hours in a certain place. And then that just didn't work for them, because of course their life, their entire kind of work-life balance has shifted. They've got other responsibilities to their child, which they want to fulfill as a mother, and then just finding that multiple doors were closed to them. So they've either kind of ended up being forced into entrepreneurship or business ownership, which they haven't wanted to do and they've struggled, or taking on part-time roles that do not pay them anywhere near what they are worth. And so, speaking as a business owner, I can categorically say that having the part-time expertise of an incredibly senior and experienced person has been absolutely incredible. And I have no idea whether it's never made sense to me where the unwillingness of businesses to engage with that has come from.
Yeah, and it's really challenging because so many, again, creative industries in which we work, so many women who are in senior roles, mm-hmm. who don't want to give up their career, no. have then felt forced to go back full time into their role and try to juggle that with family mm-hmm. life. And I read an article recently that just blew my mind about this, which was about a creative director who, and I thought at first it was a satire because it was so ridiculous, but it was basically this woman was teaching the reader how to be a successful creative director and a mother at the same time. And it was things like, say you're going for a toilet break, to sneak across to your child to watch your child's play, move closer to the office so that you can sneak out, go and put your kids to bed and then come back. It was so absurd that it seemed satirical, but it wasn't satirical. That is the expectation of a lot of these agencies. Yeah. And we are really committed to creating a marketing and brand agency, a creative agency mm-hmm. that does things differently. And that means allowing somebody to work in a way that works for them. Mm-hmm. Creating a flexible working pattern that isn't like, oh, you can come in an hour earlier and leave an hour earlier and that's flexible working. It's to say there are 24 hours in a day, and as long as there are times when we are all together for things like meetings, mm-hmm. that we get to say how things go, we get to set the boundaries for our clients, and as long as we're getting the results and producing mm-hmm. the impact that we're looking for, why does it matter if somebody works at, even 5 a.m, if that's what works for them? And so it's really about breaking down those boundaries to accessing a way of working and a way of work-life balance that works for you. And you know, this is not just about that for women. There are impacts for men too, but it is typically women who have to deal with this kind of juxtaposition between their identity and who they want to be within the workplace, and then being a parent and looking after the house. It's kind of the annoying thing, I would say, that the suffragettes didn't think about that when they fought for a right to work.
But you know, we do still live in a society where it is far more likely that women are going to be the primary caregivers. So this does still disproportionately affect women.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think as well, like that culture of flexible working and giving your employees a say in when they do their work and how they balance their lives. Like, you can't do that within a 9-to-5 structure. Like, you just can't, because that's not how schools operate. You know, you can't kind of tell a child, you know, oh, you can't be sick today because I've got to be at work. You know, all of that scrabble in the morning of like, oh, I've got to get childcare to be at work for like that. Like, what if we just took all of that away? Nothing's gonna crumble. Like, we're a fully remote business, and like, it's lovely to be together sometimes, but you know, we also make it work remotely. And we make it work flexibly. And going back to the, you know, the patriarchy doesn't work for anyone. You know, this doesn't just apply to people that have childcare commitments. This applies to people who have projects that they really want to work on, who want to study and expand their skill set and maybe prepare for, you know, another side business or side hustle they want to set up, or learn a skill or enrich themselves. Like, you can't have and I'm seeing this for the first time, because my God, was I so stuck in that 9-to-5, like, like, you've got to be there all the time. But you know, you can't have a work-life balance if you don't have a say in when your work is and when the rest of your life is.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely spot on. And it's also people who've got neurodiversity. We're a neurodiverse team. We have a whole spectrum of mental and physical disabilities within our team, and so many different personal needs within that spectrum. And that the same thing applies. Like, if your brain doesn't switch on until 11 or 12 o'clock in the daytime, but can't switch off until 1 or 2 o'clock at night, why do you need to force yourself into a model that like, the model really is just, it's for factory workers in the Industrial Revolution. And that is very problematic anyway. Totally. And I'm also reminded of something that like happened to me. So this was sort of in the middle of like 2020, when things were starting to open up again. I remember I booked myself a massage, and I was so looking forward to this massage, and then I got a text from the massage therapist in the morning saying, I've started my period today, and as a rule I don't work on the first day of my period because I don't have any energy, and so I'm really sorry, I'm moving your appointment. And my initial response was like, what? I was really looking forward to that. And then I was like, that's really actually amazing. That's actually amazing that and then I was like, you know what? I'm bloody useless on the first day of my period as well. I'm in pain, my head's foggy, I can't function. And then I'm like, why do I drag myself out of bed and make myself focus on a day when my body clearly doesn't want to do anything? And you know, that is true flexible working, to be able to say, like, you know what, I'm not going to go anywhere today. I'm not going to drag myself into doing something that my body is clearly not going to be comfortable doing. Yeah. We've got a client who are the number one learning platform for people with disabilities in the UK. And they are run by people with energy disabilities. And it's a similar sort of thing. It's like, actually, this month I'm having a low energy month, so I need to move things around, I need to make allowances. And I think we live in a world that's so obsessed with that. You have to do what you say you're going to do when you're going to do it. People will think you're unprofessional. You can't you can't, like, you've got to put other people's needs before your own. Especially in the UK, that's something that's drilled into us from a really young age. And for the future of work to work for everybody, we need to completely turn that on its head and instead teach that you need to put yourself first. You need to make sure that you're filling up your own cup before you go out and try to give your energy to other people. That is how you avoid burnout. That is how we go some way to turn around this serious issue that we have as a country with mental health. That is how we navigate our way out of this pandemic in a way that creates something truly new and refreshing and that works for everybody. And like I said at the beginning, the patriarchy and the structure in which we're being confounded and compressed and conformed doesn't work for anyone. If it did, then the mental health and suicide rates in men wouldn't be so high. If it did, you wouldn't have so many people burning out. You wouldn't have so many people being diagnosed with mental health and anxiety issues. Like, something really has to change. And I think obviously we're massively in support of women, especially female-owned businesses. But actually for me, this is really about like using this as an opportunity to say, what if we just did things a little bit differently? What if we just relaxed ourselves a little bit and opened it up to a new way of being?
Well said. So thank you so much for listening. We have been Alice and Sophie from The Joyful. And if you like what we've got to say, please do follow us on the socials. We are at We Are The Joyful on everything.
And you can like and subscribe.
And also check out our website at wearethejoyful.com.
Thank you very much, and a very happy International Women's Day and a very happy Let's Make Work Work for Everyone Day.
Woo!
Have a good one.
See you soon.
Bye.